lunch. But my name is Erin. I'm from McMaster alumni, so just down the road. And instead of doing some sort of like workout thing to get everyone back from their lunch carb coma, I thought I would tell a joke, if that's okay with everyone. So why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the washroom? Why? Because the P is silent. I got that joke from Twitter, which is part of my presentation today. So as I said, my name is Erin. Funny story, I have a really terrible signature. So this is actually my colleague Amber created this signature for me. And we used it on all of the emails that I sent to our grads, so I'm a bit of a fraud. But I was the coordinator of our Mac 10 Young Alumni program. That person is now Chris up here, so make sure you say hi to him before the end of the day. But I've recently moved into a new role working on our digital engagement for the alumni office. So this presentation is a nice intersection between my old role and my new role. And I don't know. Stop tweeting at me. So I'm, how do I say this nicely about myself? I'm very organized. I like organization, which is probably similar with a lot of you in the room. And I think that lends itself really well to talking about data and metrics and measurement and all of these things. Well, let's see, I'll show you a photo. This is a screenshot of my phone. And this is how organized I like to be. Wow. So it just shows you that I really like to make sure that everything is in its place and is there for a reason, and give you some context for all of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. So, quick disclaimer, we will be talking about Twitter and all of those other things. But does anybody, who in the room is actually working directly with social media, with young alumni? Okay. So for the people online, that's about a third. And who sort of feeds some content into social or uses social for any sort of reason, but isn't like directly responsible? Okay, and then who is not at all concerned with social media? That's not true. So it was about a third, and then a third didn't concern it. So, so by the end of this presentation, I hope that even those of you who don't work directly with social or digital, and those of you who are more tangentially related to it, will understand that it's important for everyone, whether or not it's in your direct goals. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. It can be a really huge topic. So I've tried to, I don't know what that was. I've tried to boil it down to some specific tools and a really quick conversation about measurement and a really quick conversation about for what purpose. And hopefully we'll have some time at the end to tailor the discussion more to what your interests are. This is sort of like if you cut open my brain on an average work day, it would look like this. There's a lot to consider in digital and social, and there's a lot of different players, there's a lot of different things that you can measure, there's a lot of different ways that people prefer to interact with you, and you can get really caught up in it. This is just one of probably a bajillion infographics that you can pull offline, and it might be kind of difficult to see because of the white font, but and for the benefit of people online, a couple of the ones that really blew my mind. This is the kind of social traffic that happens on average in every minute of every day. Not every hour, not every day, but every minute of every day. So Facebook users like 4.2 million posts in a minute, 280,000 snaps. There's some that don't really have that much to do with us, like Uber, but 1.04 million Vine video plays. So you can see that you very quickly get overwhelmed. So what are we measuring when we're interacting with these channels online? There's a whole bunch of, there's a ever-increasing vocabulary that we can use. And I think the first step is to look at all of these things that we're measuring and decide what is the value of each of them to us as people interacting with alumni in general or young alumni specifically. So the first step that we've done is to organize it. And generally, I look at the top of this list as sort of less engaged interactions, and then down to the bottom is where people care a little bit more about the content that we're sharing, or they care a little bit more about the alumni association in order to share or comment on what we're doing. And sometimes that's positive and sometimes that's negative, but they do care enough to take these more involved actions. And then you can go even further with a lot of the social measurement, where there are more aggregate ways to talk about social. So interactions is an aggregate of a whole bunch of different ways that people can engage with your posts. Engagement is defined differently by different platforms, Facebook and Twitter. Reach, you can estimate based on the followers or friends of people who are interacting with your content. Conversions, the amount of activity or the kind of activity that happens once people get through to your website. You can go kind of on and on and on and on and on, and then you're kind of left like this. Big Bill Murray fan. So the first takeaway that I have for today is narrow your focus. So you can easily drive yourself crazy, and I have, thinking about these things, and how do we make the whole picture better tomorrow? And that's just not going to happen. And that has a lot to do with resources and the amount of time that you have, but it's also a reality of this very quickly changing landscape. So you're never really going to get a grasp on it. That's kind of the reality. And you will suffer from extreme anxiety and sleeplessness. So what we've started to do is experiment with smaller goals. So within a month, what do we actually want to change and focus on in our social media and digital strategy? And so continuing on with every kind of maintenance piece that we're doing, so constantly posting about our events and talking about great resources on campus, and having all of that maintained, but each month focusing on one aspect of all of those different ways that people can engage with you. And how can we move the mark in that one way and see what worked and what didn't? So that's an experiment that is ongoing for us. And maybe next year I can report back much more precisely, but that's sort of how we've decided to approach this massive amount of potential data and measurement that we could be wrestling with and make it a little bit more manageable. So how are we doing that? These are a few of my favorite things. So actually, side note, on Instagram this morning I saw that a friend of mine is in Europe traveling, and she just went on a Sound of Music tour. So I put these are a few of my favorite things up there. So I'm gonna go through them, but is anybody using Sprout? Awesome. Google Analytics, much more so. Facebook ads. Okay, and has anyone heard of Social Toaster? Awesome. Okay, so something went wrong with my conversion from, oh wait, it works on, where's Ben? It works! So anyway, so this is Sprout. So when I took over the digital portfolio, we were using Hootsuite, and it wasn't really doing everything that we needed. So I did some comparisons across the social management platforms, and Sprout really came out the winner. And I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Case Social Media Conference after I started this role, and a lot of people in the States are using Sprout as well. So it now integrates with the 4 main platforms, it now including Instagram, which is great. And it allows for multiple users to use the platform with a login. So you can see who posted or who responded on the back end. You can see who posted and who responded to a specific mention or comment. So you can get mad at someone if they like spelled a word wrong, then that's why I really like it. And it delivers really wonderful, beautiful custom reports that you don't have to do anything with. You can just send it off to management, and then you can also customize it further if you want. But my favorite part is the user interaction history, and so we've done campaigns where it's been very useful to see quickly and easily how people have interacted with us before. So, for example, Chris ran a exam wishes program thing in the spring last year. He ran exam wishes, and what we did was ask students to tweet at us, and they could request some free food, and we brought it to them in the library while they were studying. It was bananas, but it was really fun. And we had this policy that if you requested one day to have free food, then that was it for you. We just had such high volume that we couldn't manage multiple requests. And so if someone tweeted at us on Tuesday and said, I'd really like some poutine, then I could go and see in their history the fact that they had asked for poutine on Monday. And so I could say, sorry, you already got your poutine. See ya, good luck on exams. And that's also really great for if someone is consistently promoting your stuff or has maybe complained in the past. You can make sure to, I mean, you're always going to be positive and wonderful when you're interacting with these people, but you can make reference to those things or just be a little more careful if you're interacting with them. So that's something I really love. And then it also integrates with Feedly, which I find great for sourcing content. So I can directly post an article from like Forbes, or our own internal daily news is actually in Feedly as well. So I can just very quickly post articles and not have to go online and do like a random search.
Yeah, it's a retroactive. So if you start using it today, you can go and see what user had done a week ago to interact with you, or no? Just from the day that you implement it?
No, when you implement Sprout, it takes a little while, but I believe that it does go all the way back. Yeah. Because it's just within Twitter, it's not within Sprout. And Sprout's just organizing what you're doing in Twitter and Facebook and whatever else. So Google Analytics, we haven't really used as much as we will be, but we've been experimenting with campaigns a lot more. So that allows you to set up a specific link and see if people came through from Facebook, Twitter, at a certain email that you send. You can get very, very granular. You can create a specific link for an email that you sent to the alumni board and see how many people came through from that versus the more broad email that you sent out. So if you want to, and there's some schools in the States that I've seen present where they have like 500 unique links that they use. And you can get very granular with it, but you can also experiment with it and see what kind of data you can get about how people are using your site and your social. So yeah, you can get, it's a gold mine. You can use it for a lot of information, but it can also be shallow if you wanted to. So when I was at CASE social media conference, they did a quick poll to see who's using Facebook and to what extent. So I think that would be kind of interesting here as well. So is anybody not using Facebook ads that you know of? Okay, and if you are, is anybody spending sort of like in the neighborhood of $10, $15, $20 when they do buy an ad? Yeah. And if you know, say per month, if you are using it a lot, is anyone using like over $100 a month in spend? Yeah. And do you want to, how much are you spending?
Well, I don't know, because we have a social media team.
Right.
So I would assume that they're promoting certain posts, probably around that range.
There was one school at Case that was spending $500 a month.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably not that much,
Yeah.
but we haven't done it with our, like, home Facebook page. We have a young alumni Facebook page.
Right.
We've thought about it, but they do it for the main alumni association.
Okay.
Like alumni, we only spend probably $20 a month. But the college spends probably $1,000 a month.
Really?
Well-
See, our central doesn't spend any money on Facebook.
I would
But we
say
do.
maybe even more.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Does that include recruitment? That's recruitment.
Oh, that's recruitment, okay.
Well, it's the college, they only have one marketing.
Oh, okay. Okay, so, there's a couple things here. So one, it's a really great bang for your buck. It's much cheaper than advertising on Twitter and LinkedIn, and you can really wonderfully customize it. So I would highly suggest that if you're not using Facebook ads, just try it. Put like $3 towards an ad and see what happens. So Ryan can attest, when I told him to do this, they got way more interaction on the Facebook post that they promoted than the one that's not.
We use it a lot at Ryerson especially for our branch or international events.
Yeah.
Who we don't have or may not have contact information for, so it's a great way to engage with those people.
So you can customize the ad audience by geographic location, by typing in some keywords for interests. You can just target it to people who are fans of your page or people who are friends of fans of your page. But the part that we've had a lot of success with is that you can actually upload a file of email addresses. So if you have email addresses for your alumni, I mean, everyone has email addresses for their alumni, you can upload that file and it will target your ad to people who have signed up for Facebook using that email address. So you don't, if you're targeting to, say, Halifax, that's great because you might not have everyone in your database that is actually living in Halifax. They might not have told you, but on the other end, you might be missing people who are in your database because they haven't put that they live in Halifax on Facebook. I don't know what I'm doing to this computer. It's making noise again. And then you can design the ad based on what you actually want to do. So get fans for your page or get people to go click through to your website, or there's a whole bunch of options for for-profit businesses that don't really apply, like buy something. But and then Facebook creates a pixel, which is like a little piece of code that you can then put in your website, in the head code of your website, and it'll actually tell you if people completed the action that you want them to. So depending how your website is managed, you can or can't use this, but it is there if you have control over that code in your website. And then Social Toaster is the last one, which is the one that I'm really excited about right now. And it's an American company that has gamified social ambassadorship. So they have set up what will be like a little microsite for us, and alumni can go and connect their social accounts to our McMaster. We're calling it the Social Marauders, which is our mascot. And they will be providing content to them that they can share with one click on Twitter or Facebook. And then they also can share on LinkedIn or on Instagram and using the hashtags that we have identified. And everything they do gets them points. And when they get to a certain level of points, or when they are like the person with the most points in a month, then they'll get swag from the Alumni Association. So it just makes it really fun for grads, and it gives us an incredible amount of data. So we can more precisely pinpoint what our reach is, because we actually know more about the people who are sharing our content, because they've connected to this platform a little more formally than if they were just sort of out there in social interacting with us. And then it also allows us the ability to email these people directly to say thank you, and maybe the people who are really engaged to ask them to participate in a more formal way, or come in and do a video for us, or it's just a stronger connection with people who are already really interested in sharing our content online. I think that covers everything. So I'd be happy to talk to you about any of those. And the other tool that I really have to acknowledge that helps us with a bajillion things every day is iModules, which is our content management system that we use. And so that gives us a lot of data around email especially. So we can experiment with the way that we've managed our email and sort of tinker with different elements of that based on clicks and that way we can make our email a little bit more effective. And then iModules is also our content management system, so interacts with our Google Analytics. So there's a lot of multitasking involved. I'm also a big Gilbert fan. Can everyone read that? I should have made it bigger. But there's a lot of multitasking involved in all of this stuff. So I also wanted to talk about two bonus tools that have nothing to do with social really or digital, but they make life way more easy for us at McMaster. Ben's not convinced, but my manager's behind the camera. But these two I would highly suggest checking out. They're both free. And Trello is a great project management tool, and you can get a whole team on there. And Slack is sort of like an inter-office communication, like an instant messenger, but it has much more functionality, and it integrates with like 75 other apps. So, so you can really use it to keep everyone on track and manage groups within the office really easily. So it's really important at this point in time, I think, not at this point on my presentation, but at this point in like the world and time, to acknowledge that social data is not true anymore. So there are a lot of free tools out there, and a lot of them are really fantastic, but you do have to put some money towards it if you're going to depend on anyway. And it doesn't have to be a lot. The thing I forgot to mention about Facebook ads is that the minute you put $1 towards your ad, you're getting a lot more analytics than if you weren't boosting the ad at all, or boosting the post at all. So there's really, that's just one example where it's really important to think about investing in social. So why are we doing this? There are lots of other things that we do in alumni advancement, but these are three sort of central ones. Who is in their job most concerned with contacting alumni out of these three? Like communications, yeah. Engaging, so like alumni relations. Okay, that's the majority. And fundraising, okay, great, that's good. And who uses Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn to get data on your alumni instead of your alumni database? At times. Okay. So basically everybody. So there's a lot of information out there, but these three things are made a lot easier if you have the data that's available on social. And so questions like this are more easily answered if you are focused on measuring your data and analyzing it and looking at it over time, so that you can make informed decisions and not just based on something that your boss heard at a conference one time, but you're actually making informed decisions about these really central key questions that affect the way that your program is evolving over time. So change one thing at a time. Bill and I came to visit Hank a couple years ago, and I got to shake his hand. Which is really cool. Oh yeah, he's an alum. Oh, I didn't even do that on purpose. And so my takeaway number 3 is experiment. Try something little, try something big, just experiment and see what works and don't assume. So get on the experiment train because everybody is doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah. This is one occasion where it's okay to say that.
Just a question from Twitter.
Yeah.
From Megan at Bay Path University was just asking about, can you elaborate more on the costs behind Social Toaster?
No.
Okay.
You have to talk to Social Toaster. It's really, it depends on the size of your program, and it depends on the campaign that you want to run with it. Some people use a really short campaign and it's done. it's used a lot in the private sector, so around a certain marketing campaign and then it's over. Or we're using it sort of on an ongoing but sort of low boil basis. So it really depends.
Okay, thanks.
And they have nonprofit rates. These are some of the resources that I used for this presentation, and we're going to be circulating this as well. I would really emphasize Evertrue's an awesome blog. They're a really interesting company out of the States that talk a lot about the importance of using digital and social to communicate and leverage the data on your donors that they're creating. And yeah, another couple of really great resources, and because of that, my takeaway number 4, I do a lot of just looking around online, and it's not a waste of time. It's really important to see what's out there. And sometimes it's hard to convince myself that it's not a waste of time. And Ben's not smiling, so maybe it is a waste of time. But I think about it as something old and something blue. So newsletters, even though they're now e-newsletters, are really valuable places for me to find cool new ideas and what everybody else in the world is doing without searching the whole World Wide Web. And I'd be happy to share some of my favorite newsletters with you. And then something blue, which is Twitter. So Twitter I find to be my absolute best resource for what people in the world and what people in advancement are doing that I want to do. And that's about it. So does anyone have any questions? Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Giving Tree?
Giving Tree is Evertrue's program, right? Is there?
Yeah, like the overlay of LinkedIn, and you can get people's information from like LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but that was a big topic of conversation at the CASE conference. Did you know something about it?
Yeah, my boss went to that conference. We're now using Evertrue, so we want to.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Okay,
Right on
I
time.
think I'm right on time.
Thanks.
Right on.
Thanks, Erin.